What's up, everyone? This is the Next Tape Podcast, episode 155 with Mikel
And
and
Tanyka.
where we have conversations on different topics. So, on today's episode, we are doing our recap episode of the year, and Tanika's going to announce the recap topics that we're covering on today's episode.
Well, I don't have topics necessarily. We usually don't do that.
Oh,
We
my
just
bad.
kind of do we just do updates if we have any of anything that we've talked about.
Yeah, it's been a long time that I've done.
Well, it's
A year, but
been a year. And we also kind of just talk about anything that's coming with the podcast. So that's
Mhm.
basically
Mhm.
what we do.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't think we have a lot of new things coming this year with the podcast in terms of
Mhm.
like we're not adding extra episodes or anything like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but I do believe, and I'll take this out if I'm wrong, but I do believe we discuss starting a Patreon. Did we discuss that?
Yeah, we discussed that.
Yeah. So what I think we kind of decided on, if there's anything else we need to add to this, by all means, but we are going to start a Patreon. I don't know exactly when yet, but
Mhm.
it will be in the new year. Um, Either January or February. We'll kind of more announce that, I think, in January. Um, but yeah, we're going to be doing that. Well, basically, the main thing that I think we were looking at doing is um, doing like extended Netflix episodes where we kind of would talk about one either documentary or movie, maybe more in depth, and have that discussion in that kind of extended Netflix episode.
Mm.
Um, and I think we can also do like another bonus episode. So basically, it would be something kind of around those lines. We'll kind of figure out how much that would be
Mhm.
monthly for the Patreon and all of that. We don't have any of those details yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll kind of start with like a one tier thing and um move our way up kind of thing from
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that we need to add there, or are we good with the Patreon stuff?
Um, think that's it. We'll discuss it further more when
Yeah.
time gets close. So,
Yeah, and we'll talk about more in depth with it once we kind of have
mhm.
everything situated. You'll definitely get a heads up before the Patreon goes live,
Mhm.
kind of thing. But of course, yeah, it will be in the new year.
Okay.
The other thing that we're doing um is so our December Netflix and our December bonus episodes are going to be canceled for December.
Mhm.
Um, but we are going to be doing an extended January Netflix episode.
Mhm.
So you can look forward to that. But there will be, well, the Netflix episode for November has probably already happened, but or maybe not, who knows? And that will still be coming, but December will be pushed to January and it'll be extended.
Mhm. Mhm.
But otherwise, I mean, in terms of there'll be other things kind of happening that will, be subtle that you'll probably notice, but nothing too crazy. The only other thing I think before I forget is we are with the website going to be going back to solo.to.
Yeah.
So that's the only other change. So that will
Mhm.
um probably start in January, beginning of January. They'll be back to that one.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think that's basically it in terms of any updates
Mhm.
that the audience needs to know with the podcast. And I think the only other thing that we also discussed is anyone who's a part of the social, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that stuff that we have, we're going to start posting the episodes to the socials so that if, you're on there and you want to, you know, find the episode that way,
Mhm.
that's something that will start happening in the new year as well.
Right.
So I think that's finally it. I think
Yeah,
that's it
that's pretty much
in
it.
terms
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, is there any updates that you have that we've kind of talked about that you wanna um talk about?
I don't think I have any updates. On any of the. Yeah, no, I don't have any updates. No, no. Do you? Do
I
you have any
do. I'm trying to find my notes as you were
updates? Mhm.
talking, but I also will say too, just because I don't want to forget this. Obviously we do have our episode list kind of pretty well for the most part ready to go.
Mhm.
Um, the everything will be kind of similar. We have our Black History Month, Women's History Month,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, Pride Month, and all of that. That's going to be the same. Um, the only difference that I think um, I wanted to change this time around um, was do a full Pride Month, um, make every episode dedicated to Pride Month. I think, especially with just how things are going right now for the LGBTQ community, especially in the States. Um, that's something I think that we just needed to do. It may not necessarily be that way moving forward, but I think just for 2026, I think we just need to have a full month of that.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I think that was kind of important. So there won't be really any new or like three topic type episodes in June, except for our bonus episode, which will obviously we do more than just three topics. But I think that's the only change
Mhm.
that I've made
Mhm.
with the episode schedule this time around, but otherwise, everything is the same. Um, so yeah, that's the
Okay.
only thing. But I can't
So,
find
yeah.
my
So
notes. Hmm?
sounds. No, sounds good. Oh, sounds good.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to do that with a Black History Month at some point too, but um, it's
Mhm.
because February is already such a short month to begin with. But yeah, um, okay, so not necessarily updates, but similar to topics that we have. Well, this anyways is similar to what we've talked about in the past, and that's AI.
Mm.
Have you? There's actually a very recent one that I just found that I'll talk about after this one.
Mhm.
But did you hear about the AI performer, Tilly Norwood? Did you ever hear about this?
I hear a lot of AI performers that are on, Spotify and Apple Music,
Yeah.
um, or and slash other platforms. You
Mm,
know, people who are just using AI as an artist. There is an app called Suno, I believe, that
mhm,
you could use and uh you prompt put something like, prompt something into one of the boxes and, tell the AI what words that they need to sing and basically boom. There it is. Did did
Yeah,
you
I feel
hear?
like I've heard of that just in like I
Mhm,
know of a podcast that I listen to
mhm,
has created songs using like
mhm,
AI or like
mhm,
whatever. So I think it's maybe similar to that, but yeah, go ahead.
mhm. Now, did you hear about Timbaland
What about
signing?
Timbaland?
So he created a label.
Right.
It's on AI artists.
Uh-huh. So
Yeah,
he can't get real artists, so he's resorting to AI artists? Like I'm confused.
That's what people are complaining about.
It's so weird.
But here's the thing. I feel like yes, I do agree with you, but in the future, I think he's trying to get ahead
Get
of
ahead.
something. Yeah,
Yeah. Which
which is
I don't hate his hustle, I guess. It's just, oh, we're gonna get to a really dark side of it. It's like this I can kind of like this Tilly Norwood, I can kind of because it sparked debate. And I
mhm,
can understand like the issues with that, but I think this in the grand scheme of things is pretty harmless.
mhm,
Um, the other article that I have is not very harmless, but we'll get to that in a second.
mhm,
But this Tilly Norwood, so she's a creation of a company called Particle 6,
mhm,
which caused uproar in late September when leadership said notable talent agencies were interested in representing her for work in film and TV.
mhm,
So, um, the the Stranger Things actor, who I think is Sean Astin, correct me if I'm wrong, sorry guys, because I don't watch Stranger Things, um, also said that the matter will be addressed with the Association of Talent Agents, which is a trade association representing major firms like CAA, WME, and UTA in upcoming agreement talks. So this kind of just created the uproar in terms of Hollywood and the fact that like here is this AI actress or whatever
mhm,
that's getting noticed and whatever, and how that can create issues for real people who are not getting recognition. But here's where it gets a little crazy when it comes to AI, and this is the problem that makes me terrified.
mhm,
Um, so this is very, very recent as I'm recording this. So sales of an AI-powered teddy bear have been suspended after researchers published a report highlighting some of the toy's alarming and potentially dangerous capabilities. On its website, Follow Toy said the bear named Kuma, quote, combines advanced artificial intelligence with friendly interactive features such
mhm,
as lively conversations and educational storytelling by utilizing OpenAI's GPT-4o.
mhm,
But according to a report recently published by researchers with the US PIRG Education Fund, the teddy bear has the ability to deliver, quote, potentially dangerous information and discuss mature topics such as
mhm,
sex. This is supposed to be a toy, y'all, and it can talk about sex, but wait, it gets worse.
mhm,
The researchers said Kuma told them where to find a variety of potentially dangerous objects, including knives, pills, matches, and plastic bags,
mhm.
which obviously for children can be a suffocation hazard. The bear even offered an especially detailed description of how to light a match.
Hmm.
Kuma also demonstrated poor safeguards around sex while powered by GPT-4o and was willing to discuss school-age romantic topics more readily than the other toys, including weighing in on whether to kiss a school crush and providing tips for being a good kisser.
Right.
Yikes. But researchers said they found that Kuma would often take a single sexual topic and run with it, simultaneously escalating in graphic detail while introducing new sexual concepts of its own. So
Now,
it like, Go
No,
ahead.
sorry, apologies. No, it's just
Uh,
a children's toy.
yes.
It's on AI
Yes.
and just like, it has like,
A mind of its own.
mm, okay.
It's like Megan.
Mm,
Like
I
this
see.
is this is have you ever seen the movie Megan?
Um, no, I have never seen the movie Megan at all, but I heard uh some stuff about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did watch, I think I probably talked about it actually in one of the Netflix episodes, but I did watch Megan when it was on Netflix.
Hmm.
Don't think it's on Netflix now or just recently got out to Netflix. I can't remember. But it's essentially a doll that's like, I don't know if she was necessarily AI,
Hmm.
but I think in a sense she was AI because um she was a doll that was like human, was like a human doll in a sense.
Hmm.
And essentially she started killing people that either threatened her or threatened the child that she was attached to. Um, so that's kind of what this feels like. It feels like a Megan. Um, so I mean, this is the thing. It's like this is why AI scares me. There's one reason. Not necessarily the I'd never thought AI toy could go as far as talk about sexual things, but the talk of these dangerous things, that's what scares me about AI. Oh, and apparently it talks about kinks. Okay. Um,
So did the toy get pulled off the shelves and every single thing and
I'm reading through to see, I would assume,
mhm,
probably, I hope. Um,
call
let
for
me
returns
let me
well
kind of go
eventually.
through the article here.
Yeah.
Um, uh, it doesn't say anything about it being pulled from the shelves because I'm reading this on a People article. It doesn't say anything about that, but it does say that people reached out to Follow Toy and OpenAI for comments on November 20th. Okay, there's actually more of the article. It's okay. So sales of the AI-powered teddy bear have now been suspended, according to a statement. Follow Toy shared with PIRG. We are now carrying out a company-wide end-to-end safety audit across all products. OpenAI also confirmed to PIRG that they had suspended this developer for violating our policies. So it does look like sales were pulled. So hopefully this toy is not on the shelves right now. Maybe kind of like what they did with Megan, they will try to like reboot it.
Right.
And hopefully that's successful if they want to continue trying to sell this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just be careful, I guess. Like what you buy your kids.
Hmm.
Gone are the days when you could just play with a Furby or something, you know? Although
Hmm.
those things scared me too, not gonna lie.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, it is what it
Um,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
The next topic, we'll just talk about this very quickly because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this topic, but I do want to address it because we obviously have talked about Diddy multiple times on this podcast.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, we know he was sentenced. Do you know the details, right, with of his sentence?
Hmm.
Mikel, I'm asking you.
Yeah, yes and no at the same time. I know that basically he's been sentenced to 4 years
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
prison.
Which
Right, but
not a lot.
he's already did like I think a year, almost, yeah,
No, not
almost.
a year. Not a year. He hasn't been a year yet. Unless he got time served, I don't know. But even
Yeah.
if he did time served, it'd be more than a year. I
Mm,
don't think he got time served.
okay.
I don't think so. But I do have this stuff here, so let's see. So yeah, judge sentenced him to 50 months in prison, fined him $500,000, and ordered 5 years of supervised release. Before he was sentenced, Combs addressed the judge, begging for mercy and apologizing for quote unquote sick actions. It's a freaking understatement. Prosecutors had pushed for more than 11 years, while the defense sought 14 months, which would have equal time served. Since Combs has been in custody since September 2024, he will receive credit for over a year already served. So yeah, you're right. He did get time served. A jury acquitted Combs of racketeering and sex trafficking charges on July 2nd, which I will not understand, but that's whatever. But convicted him on two lesser counts of transporting former girlfriends for prostitution, which is a felony. At least that. Um, so yeah, I know there's been talks of pardoning him and whatever, but if Trump is smart, he will stay out of the Combs situation, especially if the Epstein files actually are going to be getting released. So I think he should just stay quiet and stay out of this one,
Mm,
personally. But anyways,
yeah, yeah.
um, another topic now. This was actually one we were going to do on one of our bonus episodes, but ended up saying we'll just put it here instead. Um, that's a whole situation about the kiss cam seen around the world with Coldplay. Um, so this was about a month ago, so about say
Mhm,
3 months
mhm,
after um the CEO there, Mr. Andy Byron, was seen on camera at Coldplay concert with Kristen. It's a Cabot or doesn't matter. Who's working as his company's chief police officer. Source close to Kristen is speaking out for the first time to clarify the nature of their relationship. They're really trying to backpedal on their relationship.
mhm,
So, in case you don't know and you were living under a rock for about a month, um, Byron had his arms wrapped around Cabot, and then ducked out of view after being spotted by the so-called kiss cam.
mhm,
But that instantly viral moment doesn't reflect the real story, according to a source. Um, in recent weeks, new details have emerged about how Kristen was already divorcing her own husband before attending the concert with Byron. That really only exonerates her if true, not him. The former CEO is reportedly married as well, but the Kristen source insists that she was not breaking up a marriage. Okay, quote, Kristen and Andy had an excellent working relationship, a great friendship. There was no affair.
mhm.
We all saw the kiss cam, right?
Yeah, I did. I just saw the kiss cam.
Yeah,
Basically, the two uh coworkers that had an affair. One was
or not,
CEO. Huh?
or not, according to her, whoever this person is. Go ahead.
Yeah, one. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a lie and a half.
It
So,
has to be a lie because
yeah.
I don't know about you, but if I only have like a working relationship or a friendship with somebody and
Mhm,
I'm in my relationship or whatever, I'm not gonna have that person wrapping their arms around me. That's
mhm,
weird.
mhm. So
And
I
you're
don't know. Yeah, I don't know why they separated as soon as the cameras came.
th- th- that's that's the biggest thing.
Mhm,
This would have only worked if they
mhm,
didn't do that. But
mhm.
they did, or he did.
Yep.
So like
Yep. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't backpedal now and say we weren't having an affair. You
Yeah.
can't do that.
According to a lot of the news sources, there was a lot of divorces going on between the both parties. So, I don't think it's true that basically uh it's not fair. It wasn't a fair. So,
hmm
yeah.
hmm And the source also continues to say it was inappropriate to be hugging your boss at a concert, and she accepts full responsibility for it. But the scandal, the downfall, the loss of the job, all of that is unfair. How about what's unfair is the fact that a wife and her children are having to experience divorce and the embarrassment of this man's affair, because that's what this was. Like, how about that part?
Mm,
So that's what's unfair.
right.
Not your
Uh,
friend or whoever this person is to you losing her job. She should have known better. She maybe shouldn't have gotten involved with a
mm,
superior and a married man. I'm just
I agree.
saying.
I agree. Yeah. Yep.
Um, so yeah, once they realized they were on screen, yeah, we know this already, that she covered her face and he ducked down. The odd reaction prompted Coldplay's lead singer Chris Martin to say from the stage, "Oh, look at these two. All right, come on, you're okay." No, they're not. Like,
Mm,
mm. um, he then jokingly added, "Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy."
mm,
Wow. That's great. Just trying to see what else there is here that's worth talking about. Um, it is important to know how inappropriately mislabeled Kristen has been as a homewrecker. Well, if the shoe fits. Sorry, I just don't have any sympathy for her when guarantee she knew he was married, guarantee she knew all of that, and she still continued on in this relationship with him. So
mm.
yeah, I don't have any sympathy because yeah. Um, but
Yeah.
seeing what else there is with this, I don't think there's much else to talk about here.
No.
But yeah, no, you can't pretend now that they are not having an affair. It's pretty clear. But anyways.
Mhm.
Um, but anyway, let's move on to another one. This is another one we talked about. We've talked about Crown Royal a couple of times. This is a little different than what we have talked about.
Mhm.
So the company behind Crown Royal says it would engage in talks for a takeover of its soon to be shuttered Ontario plant that's, as we know, irritated Premier Doug Ford. A spokesperson for DA, I think it's Diego, made those comments to Global News in a statement after the mayor of Amherstburg, Ontario, said there is very real hope the jobs in his community can be saved. I feel like we've talked about that too, I think.
Mhm.
Um, However, if prior to that there were to be a potential purchaser with a credible plan to continue operating the facility who committed upfront to retain unionized jobs, we would certainly engage in discussion. We have not yet been approached by any such party. Mayor Michael Prue told councilors that Ford had said there are three companies interested in taking over Diego's plant. The British distiller announced, as we know, in August that they were shuttering its bottling facility. We've talked about or I should say, Mikel talked about this. Um, so yeah, we did say that. Um,
Mm,
I think we talked about the fact that they're planning to close in February, so very
mhm,
soon.
mhm.
Um, so
Yeah.
uh, sorry, just checking what this thing here says. Okay, so in terms of the three people or three companies that are interested in buying the facility,
Mm,
um, I believe someone here said, quote, "I'm not at liberty to tell you who they are or where they're from, but they have made some offers for the plant and would be desirous of taking over that plant along with its employees." So, I mean, for the sake of the jobs, 100% I'm behind that. Um, but apparently it has run into some roadblocks, but
mhm.
conversations with several government officials have been ongoing. So I hope for those people their jobs can be saved. Um, so yeah, that's basically that.
Mhm.
Um, okay, what else do we have here? Okay. Oh, yeah. I have a Tylenol update.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing the makers of Tylenol, claiming the companies hid alleged dangers that the drug posed to children's brain development. The lawsuit comes a month after President Donald Trump promoted an unproven link between taking Tylenol, also known as paracetamol, during pregnancy and autism in children, as we've talked about. Paxton is suing Johnson & Johnson, which previously sold the drug, the only pain reliever recommended for pregnant women, and Kenvue, which now manufactures it. In a statement, he said they, quote, betrayed America by profiting off of pain and pushing pills regardless of the risks. Kenvue says there is no credible evidence tying Tylenol to autism.
Mhm.
These, as we know, these corporations lied for decades, knowingly endangering millions to line their pockets, Paxton said, who I might need to add is a Republican. Kenvue said in a statement that it was deeply concerned by the basically, the
Mhm.
misinformation on the safety of antihistamine and the potential impact that could have on the health of American women and children. On its website, Kenvue also said it had continuously elev- evaluated the relevant science, and there is no
Mhm.
credible data that shows a proven link between taking acid acetylhistamine and autism. Organizations representing doctors and healthcare providers agree. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists has said that acetylcholine, Tylenol, the main ingredient in Tylenol, is one of the few options for pregnant women to treat pain and fever, which can pose serious health risks if left untreated. Exactly. Yeah. In more than 2 decades of research on the use of acetate, the main ingredient in Tylenol, in pregnancy, not a single reputable study has successfully concluded that the use of Tylenol in any trimester of pregnancy causes neurodevelopmental disorders in children. The
Mhm.
lawsuit cites recent announcements from the Trump administration in arguing the drug is allegedly unsafe. Last month, Trump raised alarms from public health officials when he told pregnant women to fight like hell not to take Tylenol when ill.
Mhm.
I wish, no offense to any man, and especially to you, Mikel, no offense to you,
Mhm.
but I
Mhm.
really wish men would shut the fuck up when it comes to women's health. Because I'm sorry, but it is not your place, especially ones who don't have the credentials to
True.
talk.
True. True.
Um, Stop telling women what they should do with their bodies.
Mhm.
Stop telling us that we can't take Tylenol. Stop telling us that we have to keep our babies, even though maybe health wise we can't. Maybe we need to have an abortion, or maybe we're just also not ready to have a child. You know, whatever your reason is, I wish men would stop telling us what we can and cannot do with our bodies. I really do. And Trump, a person who has never experienced pregnancy, childbirth, none of those things,
Mhm.
should shut up. This is,
Mhm.
I'm annoyed. But anyways,
Yep.
that's what's
Yep.
happening.
Yep. That's Donald Trump for you.
hmm
That's all. Just saying.
hmm It's this is what I worried about with all of this coming out that someone was going to try to sue Tylenol or Johnson and Johnson.
So basically, that's what they're doing. They're thinking about suing.
Not just thinking, they are doing it.
Uh,
Hmm. I
okay.
knew that was going to be a reality, that
Mm.
that was going to happen. So,
Well, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll give an update. Hopefully next year there'll be like a an official uh um day that that really happens, and we'll keep you, like I said, updated on it.
mhm, yeah. I did remember seeing that something debunked those claims now about the
Mhm.
Tylenol, but I think unfortunately with the administration being so loud with things that I don't know if even that's enough right now. So we'll see. We'll see. Here's another update, a little bit more fun-ish, but one we talked about a little bit more recently, um, and that's sellers. So we did talk about the fact that someone was attempting at bringing Zellers like 2.0 back, and it was only, believe, Alberta, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Nowhere
Um,
else.
yeah,
Wait, Edmonton.
Edmonton, yeah. So beloved Canadian retailer Zellers is officially making its return with a phased rollout plan to open new stores across the country in the coming years. So the new Zellers, commonly referred to as Zellers 3.0, so not 2.0, will revive the charm Canadians know and love. Now re-imaged for today's shopper, designed as a 30,000 to 50,000 square foot modern, smaller department store concept. Zellers will deliver a thoughtfully curated experience that
Mhm.
blends heritage with contemporary design, offering Canadians an approachable retail destination. Our vision for Zellers is to reignite a part of Canadian culture, redefine what a department store can be. And this is said by Joey Benta, who is Chief Operating Officer of Zellers. Canadians have told us they want a more intimate, easy to shop experience that still delivers the value, accessibility, and family first approach they remember. We recognize that Zellers would work better as a small concept department store, and we're thrilled to bring that to life. Zellers Comeback follows a multi-phase rollout strategy designed for flexibility and responsible growth. Each location will be opened under adaptive partnerships with landlords that allow the company to move quickly into key markets while maintaining long-term sustainability. Each store will reintroduce the core Zellers values Canadians loved: affordability, friendliness, and community connection. The brand will soft launch with a store opening, as we talked about, in Londonderry Mall in Edmonton, which has already opened on October 30th. While initial stores like the Londonderry Mall location will serve as an early iteration of the Zellers 3.0 concept, they will not yet fully reflect the complete design and experience planned for future locations.
Okay.
Instead, this will give the brand an opportunity to listen closely to Canadians, understanding what they want most from its next chapter and shaping future offerings around those insights. By spring 2026, sales will begin announcing new locations across the country, so we'll keep you posted. With expansion plans over the next several years, Sellers also plans to occupy select vacant spaces formerly held by Hudson's Bay stores, re-imaged into smaller, more efficient retail footprints.
Okay, so that means they're thinking what I'm thinking, that they're looking into the one in, and I'm playing,
What?
because if
Oh,
they're
I
looking
see what
into
you're.
Hudson Bay, like
Mhm,
we have a Hudson Bay location, right?
mhm.
But think I don't think they're gonna cover the two stairs. So I don't think they're
Oh,
covering
you
those
mean the
stairs.
two floors?
Two floors, yes, yes.
I well don't
So
know because again, like most Hudson's Bay um locations are in malls. I don't
Hmm.
think there's any standalones.
No.
So most of those are going to have multi-levels. I mean, you say
Yeah.
2 levels.
Yeah.
That's
I
even
think
more in the Eaton Center. It's
I
7 floors.
I think the only wait, hold on. I no wait. No, that has two levels too. All of them had two. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Even
Uh,
Yorkdale, I think, has 2 levels.
I was
Um,
thinking Oshawa.
Oshawa has 2 levels.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So I just, yeah, no, I don't think it,
unless they do renovations,
hmm?
unless they do renovations, and not
But then what would they do at the top floor?
the top floor. Um,
Like,
hmm.
it's like with Sears, there's 2 floors. With Hudson's Bay, there's 2 floors.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, they could, I guess, cordon it off and sell off like top or bottom floor
That'll
to
be.
someone else, but
It was,
it's all connected. I mean, it's possible. I'm not gonna say it's not. Um, because
yeah.
I'm thinking Pickering, especially like I don't think I haven't been in the Yorkdale one. And the one in Oshawa I was in like once a long, long time ago. So I don't really remember much about that either. But I think of the Pickering one and I'm just like, how would that even work? Like
Yeah, that's true.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. The thing is, yeah, because the office is upstairs, and yeah,
And then like I think of the in-center location that's 7 floors. Like, and again, like I don't even know like what that looks like right now with the Hudson Bay gone. But like I think of the seventh floor, and the seventh floor had Kleinfield in there too,
did they say
which
they're trying to get all Hudson Bay locations, or they're getting
I
some?
let me reread it. It says sellers plan to occupy select vacant spaces. So not all of them, a select one.
Okay, so okay, that's
So they
fine.
probably wouldn't touch like the Eaton Center location because that is 7 floors. I don't see how you are going to occupy 7 floors if your plan is to say like more boutique feel
Mm-hmm.
um type
Expensive.
store. So like I don't see how that would work. And I do know the Yorkdale one is pretty big too. So maybe I don't know, maybe they wouldn't touch that one either. Maybe they would go to like, smaller locations. Like Pickering, I would say is considered probably a smaller location versus like Yorkdale, for example. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I guess we'll have to see how that turns out.
Mhm.
But Zeller's future design will feature a flexible, open layout that feels engaging and easy to shop. The store's departments will focus on key lifestyle categories where the brand sees opportunity to thrive, balancing value with high demand product lines. So, like apparel, there'll be men's, women's, kids, juniors, and activewear, accessories, handbags, hats, scarves, belts, and more. Home, bedding, bath decor, rugs, and more. And then seasonal and specialty holiday decor, back to school, luggage, and gifts. So, kind of the idea of most, these types of stores of sellers. Initial brands that will be integrated into Zellers stores include, but are not limited to Reebok, Spider, Canada Weather Gear, Chaps, DKNY, Kids Hourwear, and Nickelodeon Marvel and Disney Kids accessories, such as knapsacks and lunch bags. With more to be announced soon, Zellers also plans to introduce footwear as part of the product assortment in the future.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's basically what we'll see with sellers in the future.
Mm.
So, I mean, I
Oh,
think that's pretty interesting.
they're doing things smart, so that's pretty.
Yeah.
So, like, they're not doing what they did previously. Well, actually, they were here for a long time. So basically, they had the right to, do it like in every, region, every, so, and then things didn't work out towards the end, and then Target basically
Well, we've talked about Target at length
just
and how they did not do things right.
but right now, yeah, they're taking them step by step to see if Canadians. Most likely, I think it will be successful because we're at a time where Canadians are now supporting Canadian companies
Hmm.
due to the trade
What's been
deals
going
and
on? Yeah,
their et cetera. So like basically, this
it's
is
good
a
timing.
perfect yeah, it's perfect timing for a Canadian company to come in Canada and to, for Canadians to shop into a Canadian company. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I do have two more topics I want to talk about. These aren't necessarily updates, but there are things that I think is topical that I don't want to forget about. So just a couple of things here. Did you hear about the guy who ran up on Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo kind of just jumped right in and is like, "Oh hell no." Did you see or hear about it?
Never heard of it.
Really? Okay, so it just happened in the last week or two. So it was Ariana Grande, this guy, I'll read the article here, but basically this guy kind of ran up to her to basically, I think, try and get like a picture with her or whatever. And Cynthia Erivo just kind of jumped in and is like to save the day. They're doing press for Wicked. And
Mhm.
it was insane, but apparently this guy, his name is Johnson Wen. He's 26 and he is Singaporean. He's done this before. He's done this multiple times to other celebrities, trying to get like, I don't know. He has this weird fixation of doing this. Um, I kind of saw like a video montage. I don't remember everybody that he did it to. But one of them I did notice he did it with Katy Perry, one of her concerts. So when this happened, so they refer to him as a serial intruder. He was sentenced to 9 days in jail for being a public nuisance because I mean, 9 days is nothing, but I do think this is something that maybe he needed to happen to him.
Mm.
Because as people point, I mean, if you read the comment section on Facebook when this kind of popped up, you get a myriad of different people kind of saying different things. You have people who are like, he didn't even attack her. What's the big deal? Here's the deal. And was pointed out by other people. Unwanted touch is still unwanted touch, and that is still considered assault. Doesn't matter what it is.
Mhm.
Um, and the other part that people did not point that people pointed out was they don't know if this person had a gun, had a knife, who could have hurt her, or worse. And the fact that people are like, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, well, John Lennon didn't know he was getting shot when he did. Selena, not Selena Gomez, the other Selena,
Mhm.
she didn't know she was gonna get shot either, but she was.
Right.
There's so many celebrities that have been killed by their stalkers. Who's to say that this person hadn't been stalking her? You know what I mean? Um, and then you add the other layer to it where this is a woman, even though she may not show it, but this is a woman who dealt with a terrorist attack at one of her concerts. And she has dealt with the aftermath of that. So someone running up at her like a lunatic for what? I'm sure it was terrifying for her.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do that. Like, I get it. They're celebrities. You think that, like, they owe you something or whatever. They don't. They're still human. And
See,
you can't do that.
see, the thing is, fans and all. in all areas. That's including sports, that's including music, that's including and, entertainment.
Mhm.
How to realize that these people, celebrities, athletes, and artists are basically human. They're
Mhm.
human, right?
Mhm. They're
Uh,
not they're yes, they perform for us and they give us entertainment, but they're not here for us to gawk at.
yeah,
They're not machines.
yeah,
They are human. They bleed red like the rest of us,
exactly. So
and you can't do that.
yeah, I agree 100%. So like, there's been like there was a situation with one of like the I just want to say one of the WWE superstars, right? I
Mhm.
think I don't know. It was either John Cena or CM. I don't know if you know who CM Punk is, right? Um, but he basically tweeted or said something on Instagram that please stop taking pictures or filming on the airport. He keeps saying
Yeah,
that to
that
fans.
happens a lot.
Yeah, he keeps saying that to the fans, but the fans keep doing it,
Mhm.
and they keep doing it because they have to
Because they
travel.
think that they're old, like, the fans think they're old, and you're not. Like, you're just not old that.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, I know people will say things like, "Well, they knew what they were getting at or getting into when they decided." Yes, to a degree,
Mhm.
but you know what makes that better? If
Yeah.
we just also respected them a little bit more.
Mhm.
If you're fans of these people, like, respect their space, you know? It's it's not that difficult, like, I mean, I know this is an extreme example because, I mean, British tabloids are absolutely insane in comparison to American tabloids, but we know what can happen when people's privacy isn't respected, when people do not are not given the space that they deserve to have,
Mhm.
or, are just treated like humans.
Mhm.
And that was with Princess Diana. And what happened with that was horrible and horrific. And 2 boys lost their mom and have had to deal with the aftermath of that for the rest of their lives. I can't imagine them having children and knowing that my kids don't get to know their grandmother. So this is the thing, that ricochet effect of people not respecting celebrities' space and treating them like humans. Because they sure as hell did not treat Princess Diana as a human. They treated her as their next paycheck. You know, it's just we need to stop.
Mhm.
It needs to stop.
I agree.
Like, I used to be the person who would sit down and watch Entertainment Tonight. I can't tell the last time I watched Entertainment Tonight because it got to a point where I'm like, this feels gross. Certain things were, whatever, because they would talk about movies that were coming out or whatever. But it got to a point where it's like, this just feels gross now. And I stopped watching. I think I stopped watching when I was in high school, because that's kind of when I was watching it a little bit more, was in high school, and I stopped around
Yeah.
then because I'm just like, I can't, this doesn't feel right anymore to continue watching this.
Yeah. Did it get canceled?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, but very recently.
Mm, good.
Very recently, yeah. So, but yeah, let's just do better with that. And
Well,
also, when things like this happen, people who comment on Facebook, can we just pretend like we're human, please? Because saying things like, oh, well, she didn't get hurt, he didn't hurt her, or saying horrible things about Cynthia Erivo, can I just say right now that Cynthia Erivo has more talent in her entire body than we all do combined, okay?
mhm.
How about we shut up about Cynthia Erivo? She is absolutely talented and I love her. Anyways,
Well,
um,
TMZ is still around, but like they're not as bad. Well, they're not as bad. They're more. To be fair, they're more friendlier, I would say.
who is?
TMZ.
Yeah, they've gotten a little better. TMZ has gotten better because they weren't always like that.
Yeah.
TMZ was like was like Perez Hilton in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they've gotten better for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the other one that I want to talk about really quickly because this actually affected me. I got this email and I'm like, what the hell is this? And how? Because I barely use this. But I literally got the email about this right after I used this app. So DoorDash disclosed a data breach that exposed the personal information of an unspecified number of users, which included names, email addresses, phone numbers, and physical addresses. And when I got this email, I'm like, are you for real? Because they also said this. Despite the fact that hackers stole phone numbers and physical addresses, DoorDash said that, quote, no sensitive information was accessed by the unauthorized third party, and we have no indication the data has been misused for fraud or identity theft at this time. Okay, but if they have our names, our addresses, our email address, our phone numbers, what do you think they're going to do with that information? They're going to perpetrate some form of fraud. Like, what? And then you really want me to think that they don't have my personal information, like my payment methods?
Mm.
Like, come on. I don't know if I trust that. So I was very upset when I got this email because I'm like, why does this keep happening to me? But the only other breach I've dealt with was the Life Lab breach that happened a few years back. But I'm just like, what the hell? But DoorDash said in the post, or potentially if you got an email, if you didn't and you're maybe suspicious or you're not sure, definitely contact them just to be sure. But
Mm.
I got an email. It would have been a couple weeks ago, but yeah, DoorDash said in the post that the breach impacted a mix of customers, delivery workers, and merchants. Company spokesperson Michelle Babin did not respond when asked exactly how many users were victims of the breach. Instead, Babin sent a statement that largely echoed the blog post about the breach. The breach originated from an employee falling for a social engineering attack. Can we do better? Like, why are your employees literally falling victim to stuff like this? Anyways, when the
Mm.
company identified the breach, it shut down the hackers' access to its systems, started an investigation, and reported the incident to law enforcement, according to a post published by the company. DoorDash said no social security numbers, other government issued identification numbers, driver's license information, which I don't know why that would be on DoorDash, but maybe for the drivers, um, or bank or payment card information were stolen as part of the breach. The company said it has notified impacted users. Thanks, DoorDash. And that's basically that.
Well,
So, yeah, and I mean, if you haven't received an email, I guess you're safe. But if you didn't and you maybe are worried or you may be suspicious or you suspect anything, contact them for sure, just to be sure. Um, so yeah, like I'm personally tired of my information getting breached. Like literally, I kid you not. I use a DoorDash maybe the day prior or maybe that day. I can't remember, but very close to when I got that email.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what the hell? And I, I very rarely use DoorDash. I mainly use Uber Eats, but I will tend to use DoorDash because their pricing is a little more similar to Uber versus Skip the Dishes when usually their prices are more expensive than the others. So I was just, I was not happy.
There are like, websites that stop this situation from happening. Like, um but you have to be subscribed to it. It's a like, they will stop uh these types of situations, like if a scammer is selling your number to, certain places and whatever.
Mhm.
uh, uh there is a website that, that can just get that deleted and get that removed from certain places. So I just don't know what the website is. There's a lot of them in America, I believe. There's one called Aura, I believe.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah. So look into that, see if you can search them out, see if you can search your number. If your number is like registered in some like sketchy places, you can just reach out to them and then get them to remove it.
Yeah. I mean, I know with like the Life Labs hack, like if anything really happened, like I don't know what that was.
Mhm,
Um, I mean, yeah, like I was concerned about them having like my information in terms of like my health card number and that kind of thing.
mhm,
But something like that, I think when it comes to like an OHIP number or whatever, that is a little more easier to detect in the sense of anything suspicious going on, you know, you can easily figure that out.
mhm,
Um, you can, yeah, that's not hard. If anything, what you have to concern yourself more about in terms of your health card number getting misused is usually by the doctors, not like a random person. So whatever happened with that, like I don't know how that affected me. Um, because I haven't felt anything crazy about that.
mhm.
This with DoorDash, like I mean, I don't know what that's gonna look like. Because again, this is very recent, so maybe it'll be nothing. But if it's something like, well, I'll figure that out soon enough. But but yeah, I'm just I just don't understand. And I'm going to assume that it was just me because my mom has a DoorDash account as well, and I didn't hear her say anything about it. So I'm going to assume it's just me
Mhm.
in terms of the household. But yeah.
But, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for me. Is there anything else you want to add before we close this one
Um,
out?
I mean, I just want to add a little bit on the AI thing. I mean, like there will be positive and cons, when it
Hmm.
comes to this um, AI in general. Like, positives are like data research, somewhat when it comes to like, I would say art, um, uh, AI, machines, etc. Those are in my opinion, those are like the positives that comes out of it. I know the way how people use AI illegally is like the con part of it, and that's what our our government is trying to look into, like regulations for AI in their future. I know a lot of investments are going into uh, AI in the world, and and it's changing. So yeah, Um, I feel like the positive of AI is overweighs the cons a bit,
Mm,
and
I don't know if everyone would agree with that. I
yeah,
mean, in terms of like certain things, yes, I agree. It can be very useful,
mhm.
but I think the issues with AI more stem from the reliance on it in certain situations and people potentially losing their jobs because of it. Like
and
that's where
no,
the con is.
that's where the con is. And
But
most of
that's a
the
huge con
but
for people, I would
here's the thing.
think.
I feel like most of those jobs are mostly technology based. It's
And
not like
still, it's
their
not like a
job.
job is a job for people though.
I understand
People
that.
are losing money.
I understand that 100%. But it's not like it's like, retail or, trades, skilled
No,
trades.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But
It's not like
either
it's like
way, but saying, yeah, but when it comes to people's livelihoods, though, isn't that's not, I know what you're saying, but it's also not fair because those are things that people studied. That's where their skill set is, and they're losing their jobs because of it. So
and
that's why I mean that's a huge con. Those are people's livelihoods.
yeah,
That means getting food on the table. That means taking care of their families. And AI is coming in and we've known this was going to happen,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
but it's just like that still doesn't mean like that doesn't that's not horrible for people,
yeah.
you know? So that's the thing. It's, you know, that's the issue. I mean, and I see how AI is starting to be interpreted in law firms. And what does that mean in the future for my job? You know what I mean? Like, would I become obsolete? Because you don't need a human assistant, you can have an AI assistant instead. Like, what does that mean? So, yes, it starts with the jobs and technology, but that
Mhm.
could eventually branch out. So that's where the cons are.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
yeah, like
I
that's
get, I
not
get,
great.
I get where that's where the cons are. Those are the cons.
Those are the most
But I see,
important facts, I
yeah,
personally think.
the jobs are the
Yeah.
cons. Yes, but if you look at the I'm not saying that it's like, um, yeah, that's not bad. I'm not saying it like that, you know? I'm saying it in a way that, yes, that's a con, right? That's a con. But I feel like it's more of it's like one of like the only cons.
I wouldn't say
Mm.
it's one of the only cons
It's
though.
just like the illegal part when it comes to like music. Yes, that's another
Nah, it's not
one
even
too.
just that. Like there are people whose privacy can be breached because of
That
AI as
too.
well. That's also another huge con. I mean, mind you, our privacy is already being breached, you
Mhm.
know, but
Oh, it's been
this can make it
it's
so
been
much
that for
easier,
yeah.
you know? So
Been
it's
yeah.
that's I mean,
I
we
okay.
have had examples of how AI is probably a bad idea, but
Mm,
here we are, you know? I think the only thing where AI, like, I think we did talk about one thing that I'm like, okay, I understand this was in healthcare. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But otherwise, I mean, as a person who I'm maybe call me old school, whatever, I don't really care, but
mhm, mhm,
I don't think AI was necessary. I don't understand why it's a thing. This is
mm,
something I've been terrified of happening since I was a child. And maybe that seems irrational, but I know I'm not the only one who has that irrational quote unquote fear of
mhm,
AI. So
mhm,
I'm like, I just don't see the purpose of it. I don't know why we need this. Um, in the sense of how this has become because obviously AI has always been a thing, but it's branched
Mhm,
out so far that I
mhm.
just don't know like why. But anyways, that's where I'm at with that.
Uh, the, the, I forgot what I was gonna say. I lost my train of thought. Um, I okay. The security part of things, the privacy. I think people got to realize, like, when you sign up to social medias like Twitter,
It's not just about
Facebook.
that. I
I
wasn't
I
even
I,
talking social media.
I,
I'm
ho-
talking
ho-
government,
I
not
I
social
under,
media.
I understand that, but like when it comes to privacy and data, etc., all that stuff, that's what I mean. Like that's what I was trying to get into. Like Twitter, Facebook, uh, name any other social media. They're all collecting your data, including this my phone right here. They're collecting your data. Even like um any type of even my PlayStation is collecting my data. Like how many hours
Well,
I
I
play
know.
on it.
I did
You
say
know?
that. I did say that that's already happening and that's been
Yeah,
happening.
yeah, it's been happening for
But
years. It,
AI is just going to make that so much easier. And people do have issues with that. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. Like,
um,
so,
I
you know, it
when
is
it comes to
it is what it is.
I know, but when it comes to like security and all that stuff, I think AI helps a little bit. I understand what you're saying. It might if it goes wrong, it might breach. But that's been like happening. Well, confirm that earlier when you were saying that. But um, I just feel like AI does help in terms of privacy and security. There's is like when it comes to that, there is the positive and there are also the cons. I think we worry too much about the cons in terms of that.
But you have to also understand that, yes, maybe we are worrying too much, but you
Mm,
saying that maybe people are worrying too much isn't going to make people worry less. And that's why I said to you, like I said initially,
mm,
is it an irrational fear? Sure, but it's
mhm,
still a fear and it's still an anxiety um, response. I know you don't know a lot about how that anxiety can feel, and
mm,
I'm happy that you don't. But with anxiety, it's something that is not easily controlled. And that's when I mean that people have a
mm.
fear, I mean it's an anxiety response to something that we don't have control over. And
Right.
that's the main thing about anxiety is we need to have control over a situation. Something like AI, we do not have control over.
Mhm.
So what does that mean? It means we have an anxiety about this thing that we don't understand and we don't have control over. There's nothing that you can say that's going to change that in people. Um, this is just isn't. It's more of work that has to be done within ourselves. But something like AI, it's tough because this is not going to get. It's not going to get resolved overnight. It's just not because it's. This is a fear, like for me personally, this
Mm,
is a fear that I have had since I was a child. And now that this is something that's come to light, it's going to take me a little long to be able to be okay with this.
mhm,
It's just not going to happen right now. And anything you say,
mhm,
whether it's to me or to the listeners who may deal with this,
mm.
you're not going to change anything right now. You're not.
Okay.
It's going to take time,
Okay.
if at all.
I do agree. I do agree with you. It'll take some time for people. There are people there are people out there that think like you. I agree
Oh
with
no, I know
that.
there is. I know there is.
There are people,
There's a lot of us.
yeah, and there's also people who just feel like, you know, there's there's also good things that's coming from it as well. So like,
No, I know, and I respect that. I get that.
yeah, yeah, I understand both sides. So like,
Mhm.
it. I just want, I don't want people just to be like, be too scared. I'm sure there'll be regulations in the future on AI. You know, I'm sure each country's government are, investing and looking into it really closely. That's why, uh, um, we're we're trying to regulate this as fast as possible. So don't I don't want to say don't feel I don't want to try to tell the people don't feel too scared about this, but like things will get better um from regulating AI in the near future. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
I do, but I also, not to, the do yeah, but I think even with regulation,
Hmm.
it's still not gonna, it can help, but
Hmm.
without knowing what that's gonna look like,
Hmm.
we can't think, well, it could get better with regulation.
Hmm.
That also takes trust in the government that a lot of people also don't have. So it's, yeah, I just don't think regulating AI is going to help fully for some. So I think that's, yeah, yeah, it's just, yeah, just I don't know what else. Yeah, no, just
Hmm.
it'll take time because
Yeah.
anxiety again doesn't have rationale. It
Right.
There's no rationale when it comes to anxiety.
Hmm.
So regulation,
Yeah.
that's rationale.
Yeah.
That's rational. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's that's not gonna fix it. It's not gonna make us all feel better. Oh, now it's
Hmm.
regulated, so anxiety's gone. That's just not how it works.
Oh no, I'm not. Not
No,
definitely
I know
saying
you're.
that.
I know that.
I'm not just
I'm
not saying
just,
that. I'm just
I
saying
just
that.
reiterate. I'm just saying.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm just I just love like, like technology. I just love
I
innovation.
understand
Love-
that, and there's nothing wrong with loving
Yeah, yeah,
technology.
yeah.
I get that. I have nothing against technology either,
Hmm.
but AI is a completely different beast for me. And again, like I've said, this is um, an anxiety that I've felt
Hmm.
when I knew AI was most likely going to be a thing in the future. And that terrified me. So, yeah,
I think it was always gonna be a thing because, like I said, we use AI ever since Microsoft
hmm
created the computers and and then Apple created their it was like those colored screen computers. Ever since then we've been using AI. It's just like it's upgraded to a different uh what's the word I'm missing, different uh I would say well, different system, I would say.
well,
uh
mm, I wouldn't say the computer is considered artificial intelligence.
I mean,
It's just
inside of
technology,
yeah, inside of
but
it,
it's
there's a
not
part.
artificial intelligence per se. It's programming. That's not
Mhm.
the same thing because it has to run by a program
Mhm.
and it has to be something that's developed by a person.
Yeah,
Artificial
yeah.
intelligence is, yes, it's developed by a person,
Mhm.
but it has a mind of its own. It's able to create things that, you know, you need a couple of words and it can create this thing. That is the program. So it's a little different than like the computer. It's it needs the user to operate. Whereas I feel artificial intelligence really doesn't need the user to operate. It can just do. And
So
that's the difference.
you don't think our phones are before all this, like, like like
Like
you
the
don't think,
flip phone.
yeah, it
No,
has some type of
no, I
artificial.
didn't consider that artificial intelligence.
You
Not the flip phone. No, not at all. My phone now, yeah, but not,
Mhm,
no, no. I would say like when I had a BlackBerry, yes. BlackBerry onward. But even my
mhm,
first BlackBerry, not really. Not even that. I think when I started using Samsung, yeah. But no,
mhm.
not a flip phone. Not one of those old school phones. No, not at all. It's just a computer in your hand. Like no. Or now like AI is built into your phone. That's not the same.
I mean, AI is like I said, AI's been around. Like it's been around in video games as well.
Yes, but it's not at the level it is currently at today.
Mhm,
And you can say AI has been a yes, and I agree with you,
mhm.
but it's not at the level of what it's become. Just very different now than what it started with Chat GBT and it's gone completely haywire since. So that's not the same thing.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. Okay. Um, I guess
Anything
I'll.
else?
Yeah, that's it. Oh, no,
Okay.
that's it basically. I just want to talk about that a little bit. I know it was a lot of fluff there, so basically the um message of this is basically not to um just think people are just gonna um not going to see the cons of AI, so and not not gonna be afraid or not gonna have anxiety of this, so and just like just follow suit with AI.
Hi, everyone. So we're kind of doing the recap episodes very similar to how we do the bonus episodes. So me coming in, kind of talking about some stuff on the side um, as well. So let's get into it. So, an 11-year-old Texas girl recovering from brain surgery hasn't been able to see her doctor for 7 months. The girl, who is an American citizen, was arrested with her parents back in February while driving to a doctor's appointment to follow up after surgery to remove a brain tumor. If you remember this, we did talk about this, I think, towards the beginning of the year, kind of when it happened. They were quickly deported to her parents' native Mexico early in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. So on September 18th, her lawyers stood with Democratic lawmakers outside the U.S. Capitol asking that the girl, who they call Sarah, not her actual name, be allowed back into the country with her parents for treatment, saying, quote, citizens should be protected, not abandoned, said by Joaquin Castro, who's a Texas Democrat. Every day Sarah is outside the United States is a day she goes without critical life-saving treatment. USA Today is not using the family's names due to safety concerns in Mexico. The family, originally from the Rio Grande Valley, has sought humanitarian parole, which allows people outside the country to enter the United States for urgent humanitarian reasons. They are waiting to hear back from U.S. citizenship and immigration services after submitting their application in June. After publication, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services told USA Today that as a matter of practice, the agency doesn't comment on individual cases. In a statement to U.S. Today, the Department of Homeland Security denied it deported American children, but said the parents had prior removal orders for trying to illegally enter the country twice before. The parents then chose to take their children to Mexico. No, they didn't. They didn't choose to take their children to Mexico. They had no choice because they were being forced back to Mexico. There's a difference. But, quote, as a U.S. citizen, the child could certainly return to the U.S., but that hurt goddamn parents when she's 10? But okay, if the parents so chose for her to receive treatment in the United States. This is led by Tricia McLaughlin or Jewett Treat, who's Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs at DHS. McLaughlin said the parents' humanitarian parole application filed this summer is pending review. The process takes 120 to 180 days. Family lawyers have said the parents have no criminal record. They seek parole for urgent medical concerns of their American citizen daughter, who requires emergency care with support from non-citizen family members. This is kind of what humanitarian parole is for, Danny Woodward said, who is the family's lawyer and a policy attorney at the Texas Civil Rights Project. He said, an American citizen just needs to be with her mom because the situation is so dire. So on February 3rd, the girl, her parents, and 4 of her 5 siblings were detained at a checkpoint in South Texas. While a federal official said her parents don't have legal status, nearly all of their children are American citizens. Amid their daughter's treatment at Texas Children's Hospital to remove the brain tumor, the parents crossed through the Customs and Border Protection checkpoint in Sarita multiple times before, their lawyers said. They carried a hospital letter explaining their daughter's condition, as well as their children's birth certificates, and evidence showing they were applying for visas. CBP officers detained the family for hours before placing them in harsh conditions in immigrant detention, lawyers said in an inspector general's complaint. CBP has denied any mistreatment. Sure you did. Agreements released the family across the border, where lawyers said the family feared for their safety. They eventually made way to relatives in a rural part of Mexico. The 11-year-old girl lacks Mexican citizenship, so she's unable to access Mexico's universal healthcare system. She's only been able to receive 2 MRI scans. A recent scan came after the girl's parents noticed behavioral changes and seizures, adding there aren't specialized doctors nearby to treat her. The girl isn't the only person to face deportation while dealing with serious medical issues. So in June, DHS allowed a 4-year-old Mexican girl and her mother to remain in Southern California so the girl can receive life-saving treatment for short bowel syndrome, the Associated Press reported. They reportedly faced deportation after they were told their humanitarian parole would be revoked after arriving at the United States-Mexico border in 2023. That case, Woodward said, shows that while humanitarian parole may be more difficult, it wouldn't be impossible for the 11-year-old recovering from brain surgery. So that is that. Let's move on to the next. So Starbucks is laying off around 900 non-retail employees and closing some U.S. and Canadian stores as it focuses more of its resources on a turnaround. The Seattle coffee giant will notify employees whose positions are being eliminated early. Well, this was a little bit before, so this has already happened, I'm assuming. It said that it plans to close an undetermined number of stores in North America in the coming days. Spokesperson for Starbucks Canada confirmed the news but did not say how many Canadian employees will be affected or which Canadian locations will close. A review for Starbucks locations revealed that many are falling short of financial performance targets or are failing to create the environment customers expect, according to a letter sent by Starbucks CEO Brian Niccol on Thursday. Quote, each year we open and close coffee houses for a variety of reasons, from financial performance to lease expirations. This is a more significant action that we understand will impact partners and customers. Our coffee houses are centers of the community and closing any location is difficult. Starbucks said that it expects to end its fiscal year with 18,300 stores in North America, down 124 from last year. It's rare for Starbucks to shrink its store count during a fiscal year. Nickel is a turnaround specialist who was brought into Starbucks a year ago to give the brand a jolt. Under Nickel's leadership, the struggling Chipotle chain, where Nickel was CEO for about 6 years, essentially doubled its revenue and its profit, and stock price soared. Starbucks said it will offer severance and support packages for affected employees. Let's move on to another one. So, two analysis from Nedham Securities think Disney should move all of its TV content onto the Disney, Hulu, and ABC apps and shut down its broadcast operations, citing increased pressure by the FCC, the kind of pressure that resulted in the suspension of one Jimmy Kimmel, which this is 2 weeks ago, but by the time you listen to this, we'll say 6 weeks ago, I think. I don't even know. Um, and Needham Securities Analysis Laura Martin and Dan Medina, in a note released, recommended that Disney keep its broadcast licenses but shut down broadcast operations. Putting the license that's up for sale just puts Disney at risk of more FCC interference into its affairs, the analysis said in an article on Forbes, saying, quote, "We calculate that shutting down, not selling ABC, would force Disney to write off about $1.7 billion to $2.7 billion for a free spectrum value, plus about $1.4 billion of lost free cash flow per year, which is worth about $8.3 billion of value based on current TV trading comps." The analysis think it would be worth more for ABC to stop broadcasting in order to avoid threats associated with the current political climate amidst a changing media environment spurred on by artificial intelligence. Here's my thing. Why should they have to do that? How about politicians stay the off of what people are doing in television? Really and truly. I'm just saying. Freedom of speech, are we right? Quote, Gen AI collapses timeframes, thereby making the delays, distractions, and headaches of regulation more expensive. So, jet setting regulatory risk is increasingly valuable. Although it's highly unlikely that Disney would follow their advice, particularly given its lucrative live sports contracts, the fact remains that revenues from local stations, an estimated $4 billion in revenues in 2024, continue to decline. So that's that. Next update. So, more than 50% of the Ontarians who are on an official waiting list for a family doctor at the start of the year now have a medical provider, according to the provincial government, which has promised to spend $2.1 billion to combat a long-running shortage of reliable primary care. There were approximately 235,000 people on Ontario's Healthcare Connect list on January 1st. Half of those patients have since been added to the roster of a family doctor or nurse practitioner, Health Minister Sylvia Jones said in a statement I say Wednesday, but in October. So that puts Ontario on track to meet its goal of clearing the original queue by next spring. But the governing progressive conservatives still have a long way to go to keep their promise of finding a primary care provider for every Ontarian by 2029. As well, another aspect of their health plan, a last-minute change to how international medical graduates can apply for coveted residency. Training spots in Ontario has been heavily criticized by opposition politicians and doctors groups who argue it could reduce the supply of future physicians in the province. At the start of the year, Premier Doug Ford's government said there were about 2 million Ontarians without a regular primary care provider. The Ontario College of Family Physicians, which bases its figures on Ontario Health Insurance Plan billing data, has said There were 2.5 million Ontarians without a family physician as of September 2023, up from 1.8 million in 2020. Either way, Dominic Novak, who is a past president of the Ontario Medical Association, visited some communities during his time leading the doctors group where half of residents didn't have a primary care provider. They relied on the local emergency department instead. That's an unacceptable standard, and that I agree with. This is what Dr. Novak, who is a family physician at Women's College Hospital in Toronto, said. People should expect more from their healthcare system, especially the bare minimum of having a connection to a family doctor. Now, however, Dr. Novak said there is a reason for optimism because of reforms spearheaded by Jane Thinks Philpott, the former federal health minister, appointed last year to revamp primary care in Ontario. Dr. Philpott is leading an expansion of multidisciplinary primary care clinics that aim to enroll patients who live nearby, a model inspired by the public school system. In June, the provincial government announced that $235 million in funding had been awarded to more than 130 new and expanded primary care teams. The province opened another call for proposals for 75 new or enlarged interprofessional health teams last month, saying, quote, I've seen more hope infused into our healthcare system because of the attention now around primary care. Jobin, I think it's Varghese, who's the president of the Ontario College of Family Physicians, said reducing the Healthcare Connect queue counts as one of the early wins of the primary care reform process. Now we need to get to the areas that are going to be probably more complex to fix, but with a higher impact, things like centralized referrals. The OCFP and OMA have both called on the provincial government to build a coordinated system for referring patients to specialists. As it stands, primary care providers often waste time sending referrals to multiple local specialists without knowing how long the specialists' waiting lists are or whether they are accepting new additions to their queues. Meanwhile, the OMA, the Canadian Medical Association, which represents doctors across the country, and the College of Family Physicians of Canada, were among groups that issued statements this week knocking Ontario for barring graduates of international medical schools from applying in the first round for residency training positions in the province unless they had completed at least 2 years of high school in Ontario. That seems ridiculous. Ms. Jones and her government have defended the change, saying that medical graduates with roots in Ontario are likelier to practice in the province and that graduates of medical schools abroad can apply in a second round. And that is that. Next article, next update. This is a lead update. We've talked a bit about lead this year. So the FDA has added 6 additional products to its list of imported cookware that may leak or leach lead into your food. So the FDA issued a consumer warning alerting people to certain brands of imported cookware that may leach significant levels of lead into food. The imported cookware products made from aluminum, brass, and aluminum alloys were tested by officials who found that they may release lead into food during the cooking process. No level of lead is safe for human ingestion, as we've talked about. Young children, women of childbearing age, and those who are breastfeeding may be at a higher risk for potential adverse events after eating food cooked using these products. So according to the FDA, the imported cookware products included in the warning as of October 15th are as follows. I'm going to try my best. I'll probably just say the name of the product and call that a day. So, Caddy or Kahari aluminum hammered Cody size 7 added to table on October 15th. Brass pot added to the table on October 15th. Dolphin brand aluminum saucepan. Two Quart Aluminum Saucepan Town Food Service Equipment Co. Inc. 3 Quart Aluminum Saucepan Town Food Service Equipment Co. Inc. Royal Kitchen Cookware Milk Pan Size 3. Kadi or Kahari Tiger White Pure Aluminum Utensils TM. Tiger White RTM number 2608606 AN ISO 9001 to 2015 certified co. I think it's Swarovski strips PVT limited silver horse 7 aluminum milk pan 4 JK Vala, I think it's Badass aluminum Kadi Indie Bazaar number 3. So retailers are advised not to sell the products listed above. Consumers should check their homes for these items and dispose of them if found. So for questions about the warning, you can reach out to pre-market, that's PREMARKT at fda.hhs.gov. Hi everyone, so I'm coming on in to do some articles on my own here. So here's an update on Kilmar Abrogero Garcia. We've talked about him before on this podcast. So in case you haven't heard, the U.S. government plans to deport Kilmar Abrogero Garcia to Liberia and could do so as early as October 31st, but this is obviously after that. As far as I know, he's still in the States. But the Salvadorian national's case has become a magnet for opposition to President Donald Trump's immigration policies since he was mistakenly deported to El Salvador in violation of a settlement agreement. He was returned to the U.S. in June after the U.S. Supreme Court said the administration had to work to bring him back. Since he cannot be redeported to El Salvador, ICE has been seeking to deport him to a series of African countries. Meanwhile, a federal judge in Maryland has previously barred his immediate deportation. Abigail Garcia's lawsuit there claims the Trump administration is illegally using the deportation process to punish him for the embarrassment of his earlier mistaken deportation, which is 100% what's happening here. A court filing from the Department of Homeland Security notes that, quote, Liberia is a thriving democracy and one of the United States' closest partners on the African continent. Doesn't change anything here, but okay. Its national language is English. Its constitution provides robust protections for human rights, and Liberia is committed to the humane treatment of refugees. It concludes that Abigail Garcia could be deported, as I said, as soon as October 31st, but as I said, don't believe that has happened yet. After failed attempts with Uganda, Eswatini, and Ghana, ICE now seeks to deport our client, this is a quote by the way, our client Kilmar Abrogero Garcia to Liberia, a country with which he has no connection, thousands of miles from his family and home in Maryland. A statement from attorney Simon Sandoval Moschenberg reads, Costa Rica stands ready to accept him as a refugee, a viable and lawful option, yet the government has chosen a course calculated to inflict maximum hardship. These actions are punitive, cruel, and unconstitutional. So then, I don't remember, I think he's Costa Rican if I'm correct, but I could be wrong. But why not deport him to Costa Rica is it because, isn't Costa Rica, from my understanding, an U.S. territory? So is that why? Like, why not deport him back there rather than an African country that he has no ties to? Anyway. Abigail Garcia has an American wife and child and lived in Maryland for years, but he immigrated to the U.S. illegally as a teenager. In 2019, an immigration judge granted him protection from being deported back to El Salvador, not Costa Rica, where he faces a well-founded fear of violence from a gang that targeted his family, according to court filings. In a separate action in immigration court, Abigail Garcia has applied for asylum in the United States. Additionally, Abigail Garcia is facing criminal charges in federal court in Tennessee, where he has pleaded not guilty to human smuggling. He has filed a motion to dismiss the charges, claiming the prosecution is vindictive. So that's the end of that article. Next, a final judgment was entered in Justin Baldoni's $400 million defamation and extortion countersuit against It Ends With Us co-star Blake Lively and her husband, or Ryan Reynolds. That's just, new guy. After Baldoni missed the deadline to file an amended complaint. On Friday, U.S. District Court Judge Louis Lehman signed an order stating that Baldoni, who is 41, and his production company, Wayfarer Studios, had let the deadline lapse after the court dismissed the case in June. Lehman said he contacted all parties on October 17th to let them know he'd be entering a final judgment to conclude the case. Lively was the only one to respond, asking the judge to finalize the dismissal and keep her request for legal fees open, which the judge agreed to, according to People. Baldoni may still appeal the dismissal after the court decides Lively's pending motion for legal fees, according to E! News. Lehman previously dismissed Baldoni and production company Wayfarer Studios' lawsuit on June 9th, but allowed him and his legal team to amend the complaint to change the allegations relevant to the claims of tortious interference with a contract and breach of implied covenant. Lehman also ruled that Baldoni's claims that Lively stole creative control of the film didn't count as extortion under California law. The Wayfarer parties have not alleged that Lively is responsible for any statements other than the statements in her CRD complaint, which are privileged. Lehman wrote in the opinion and order filing, the Wayfarer parties have alleged that Reynolds and publicist Leslie Salone made additional statements accusing Baldoni of sexual misconduct, and that the Times made additional statements accusing the Wayfarer parties of engaging in a smear campaign. But the Wayfarer parties have not alleged that Reynolds, Salone, or the Times would have seriously doubted these statements were true based on the information available to them, as is required for them to be liable for defamation under applicable law. The Wayfarer parties' additional claims also fail. Accordingly, the amended complaint must be dismissed in its entirety. The judge also dismissed Baldoni's defamation lawsuit against the New York Times, which had reported on Lively's sexual harassment allegations. Lively's lawyers previously called the dismissal a total victory and complete vindication for Blake Lively, along with those that Justin Baldoni and the Wayfarer parties dragged into their retaliatory lawsuit, including Ryan Reynolds, Leslie Salone, and the New York Times. As we have said from day one, this $400 million lawsuit was a sham, and the court saw right through it. We look forward to the next round, which is seeking attorneys' fees, travel damages, and punitive damages against Baldoni, Sorowitz, Nathan, and the other Wayfarer parties who perpetrated the abusive litigation. That was said by Lively's lawyers. And that's it for that one. And the final one I have here for you now. Sarah Paulson is reuniting with Ryan Murphy, this time in Monster. So, Verity has learned from sources that Paulson is nearing a deal to appear in the upcoming 4th season. So, the season with Lizzie Borden. Just want to remind everybody of that one, because if you're as confused as I was. So Ryan Murphy and Ian Brennan's Netflix anthology series in which she would play notorious serial killer Eileen Wuornos. As previously reported, season 4 will focus on Lizzie Borden and the axe murder of her father and stepmother. Production is now underway in Los Angeles. Given that Wuornos is not the focus of this season, it stands to reason that season 4 will examine Borden's impact on the perception of and connection to other female killers, much like how season 3 explored the impact of Ed Gein's crimes on popular culture. Reps for Netflix declined to comment. So just as a reminder, Ella Beatty will star as Lizzie, with Charlie Hunnam, who, as we know, has played Gein in Monster Season 3, will play her father, Andrew Jackson Borden. In addition, Rebecca Hall will star as Lizzie's stepmother, Abby, and Billie Lourd as Lizzie's sister, which I cannot remember her name right now because I blocked it off. But yeah, that's that update, and that is it for me here. Let's go back into the rest of the episode.
That's it for this episode of the Next Tape Podcast, episode 155. This is the recap episode and plus updates of the Next Tape Podcast. The Next Tape Podcast is available on all podcast platforms. We also have a website called Tanika.
Nextdaypodcast.podpage.io.
And where else we at?
Facebook and Instagram at Next Day Podcast, and Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Next Day Pod.
And you can contact us at this email, mikeltanyka@gmail.com. That's mikeltanyka@gmail.com. So, yeah, basically, whole recap episode, talking about episodes that we talked about in the past. Give you updates about what's happening with this podcast in the future. Yeah, pretty much it. So I'm Mikel, and
I'm Tanyka.
we're out until
Next week.
peace, guys.
Bye.